I'm Andi, and this is my husband, Jake. We originally grew up in Oregon. I grew up in the midst of domestic violence. It was a very chaotic house, but I did go to church with my mom almost every Sunday.
And I did not grow up going to church at all.
We met when we were in high school. He went to Navy boot camp, and then after he graduated, we got married and moved across the country to Florida. We lived in Florida for about a year and a half, and while we were there, I wanted to go to church, but it was always kind of a point of contention. And then we moved to Long Beach, and that's when we found Northwood. On March 7th, 2021, I went to get groceries. In the Walmart parking lot, I got a concerning text from my father. He basically made a threat on my mom's life and his, and I immediately called the police, and then my brother, my husband, and Pastor Micah. And I texted two people from my small group that I was co-leading with. They came over and they waited with us for
7 hours.
About 7 hours before we heard anything back from the police up in Oregon where my parents were. And when we heard back, we found out that my father had killed my mom and taken his own life as well. And that's the day that changed everything for us. Immediately, people were surrounding us. My co-leader reached out to Pastor Micah, and he came, and several other people from the church came, and they were ministering to us.
The pain definitely did become toxic at a certain point. I had so much anger. That anger started to come out at Andi, and I had started drinking really heavily to the point where I would be out, gone for days at a time, just drinking, not coming home, trying to find comfort in other people. And I realized that my world was falling apart around me. I came home and started coming back to church with Andi. At that point, I hadn't surrendered yet. It wasn't until I realized, people reaching out, checking on me, that's Jesus. These people are showing me that love, and that was when I made the decision.
He's become the spiritual leader in our home. He is the one who's waking us up to go to church on Sunday and making plans to come. But I always wanted that spiritual leader in my husband. And now God has made that happen in his life and in our home.
If it wasn't for the church and the community, I think that I would still have so much anger.
I think that God really showed us that pain and grief can coexist with joy and happiness when we thought it had to be one way or the other. Trust God that even in the midst of intense pain that you never think is going to end, that He will heal it if you lean into Him. The pain's always going to be there, but the joy comes back. And I don't think at that moment I knew that it would.
If I could go back and tell myself anything, it would be, lean into each other, lean into the church. Don't shut people out. They want to help, and it took an army to get through all of this. So last week, I got baptized. We're pregnant. We're about to have our first baby. And I'm super tight with Kenny G. That hurt?